Hey there everybody, my name is Rick Utzer here with AirgunWeb, and we're going to bring you another old school airgun review, and we're going to tell you the facts, not the fluff here. Now today we're going to take a look at the Air Venturi Avenger. We've already looked at this gun many times in 25 caliber, but today we've got the woodstock version, and we're going to take a look at it in 22 caliber. Stay with us. Okay, so before we get started, definitely want to say thank you to Pyramid Air who provided this sample for us today. If you're looking for your next air gun, you want to get like some cool air gun accessories, check them out, www.pyramidair.com. Okay, so let's jump right into this. Now, we have discussed the 25 cal a lot. We know that it's got two gauges. It's got a, your pressure gauge over here. It's got your regulator gauge here. We know that you can adjust the regulator externally, you can adjust the hammer spring externally. We know that this gun is really tailored for the person who wants to fine-tune their air gun, but they don't want to spend $1,500 on the air gun to do it. This gun is coming in, it's a little bit more expensive than the synthetic, which is understandable because it's got the wood stock. But we're looking at under $450 right now. I think it's sitting at around $430, which is a great value, guys. Come on, I mean, externally adjustable regulator, fine-tunable, 300 bar fill, etc., etc. Just a lot of great features. We already know this gun's powerful and accurate from all of the reviews and video work that's already been done with the platform. We know this is a great performing air gun. Now let's talk about what the woodstock has brought to the table here. Okay, it really transforms this gun to the next level. Before, I mean, let's be honest, the plastic stock was, well, plasticky. It wasn't even composite. It was not great. It was very affordable, and it was a kind of a market disruptor because you had this awesome air gun that performed great in the field and on paper and at range. The stock was just a little, right, it wasn't great. Now with the wood stock though, that is yet another huge change, because really when you're looking at like what's going to be probably the most popular air gun this year, PCP wise, in that sort of consumer budget friendly area, space, whatever, it's going to be this guy, guys. I mean, it just has so much that it brings to the table. So let's talk about some of the core numbers. Now, first of all, this video I'm doing a little bit differently because I've been seeing my videos get really long, and I want to try and keep it reasonable, but I want to bring you guys all the really important information. So let's start with shot count. Now, I'm shooting this as it came out of the box. I'm not touching anything. Hopefully, I'll get to do some more work with this. I got to just make sure Pyramid Air is okay with me keeping it for a little bit longer. If so, then we will do some tweaking and optimize it. But right now, I'm shooting it out of the box, as you will probably receive yours if you buy one. This is what you're going to get. So I wanted you guys to kind of know that. So the reg is set to 2,900. That's max. So if we fill to 43 and some change, you only have about 1,300 PSI to play with before you're going to fall off the reg, right? So I want to know how many shots I'm going to get to go from 300 bar down to, say, 200 bar. And you get about 30 shots. Now, I'm using these Excite plinking pellets, and they're pretty light, so it may have given me a couple extra shots, but the reason I'm using these, I have about 8,000 of these, and I only have a few hundred of these. So for the short term, I'm going to be doing all of my shot count tests with these guys just so that we can shoot lead and know what we're getting, but I don't want to burn up my good target pellets just shooting for shot count. Let's talk a little bit about velocity, right? Let's take a look at some crony numbers. So I shot the 15.89s and I shot the 18.13s, and both of them are generating 34 and some change foot-pounds, almost 35, like really close to 35 on a couple shots, but let's just say 34 and some change. So that is about 980 with the 15.89s and about 930 with the 18.13. So you can kind of get an idea of where that's at. I'll put some pictures up so you guys can see the strings and all that kind of stuff. That'll be right there on the screen for you. Now, the other thing we did is trigger pull. So we wanted to see what the trigger's doing out of the box. Really, really good. It's adjustable, so if it's not to your liking, you can tune it. But again, I'm looking at this exactly as it came out of the box, and it was a little over 1 pound. It's like 1 pound and 1.2 ounces or 2 ounces, something like that. It was very reasonable. I mean, that is a very good trigger as far as pull weight goes. I would probably change the geometry a little bit. I'd probably have it'd be a little crisper in the second stage and maybe less first stage. But again, you might be able to just adjust that out. I haven't touched it. With the accuracy I was getting, I don't know that I would. I think it's just fine. So let's talk about accuracy now. So we're shooting at 52 yards. And what I did today, I'm actually using my ATN Binocs. These are the 4K. These things are stinking awesome. Airgun Angie had these at the expo, and I'm watching her watch her target on the phone. So you set this up, and I just set this here on the table, and I could watch my string right there. I mean, sure, I could see it in the scope, but I could just see what's going on right on the phone, which was awesome. So I used this to record my shot card, again, 52 yards away. It may be a little grainy, so I apologize for that. And if that doesn't work for you guys, I'll go back to putting a camera out there. But if it does work, boy, that's super convenient. We're able to get the footage really easily. So we'll talk about that later. You guys tell me what you prefer, okay? All right, so let's look at our shot groups here. So first group was 15.89s, and we had a couple flyers. Now, you guys can see this is pushing hard here. We have a pretty significant right to left wind, and it's gusting anywhere between probably up to 50 miles an hour right now, maybe a little bit more. And so conditions are what they are in West Texas. That's just what we got. But that ain't too shabby. The core of the group's right there. We had a couple flyers that pushed left. It was blowing pretty hard, so it's probably the wind pushed them out of the way there. But that is not bad. Again, 52 yards in the wind out of a gun that's very, very affordable. I'll take it. Now we come down to this group. This is 18-13s. No flyers really to speak of unless you count some of these outliers. But you can see a whole bunch of pellets went into the same hole, which is very cool. Again, in the wind, 52 yards. That is some just great results out of this air gun. Then knowing that I'm probably going to want to hunt with this, I said, 15.89s weren't terrible. I mean, the core group is right here. I wonder what the Hades would do. They're also 15.89, and the Hades gave us a couple flyers as well, not as dramatic, but you see they just tore up the center of that target. So from a hunting air gun, those Hades are going to be beastly in this gun. I would take this small game hunting, certainly raccoon, up to raccoon for sure. Armadillo, oh yeah, all of those, no problem. Again, 52 yards, and we just kind of tore out the center of the target there, minus a couple flyers. To me, that's just a great shooting air gun for the price. Or really, gosh, I have guns, air guns that are probably $1,000 that are probably would be shooting the same. So really, this gun performs way above its price tag. And now with the wood stock, the aesthetics sort of match its performance. So what you get in this package, again, let's just go over this externally adjustable regulator. You have your regulator gauge and your pressure gauge. You have an externally adjustable hammer spring. The wood stock comes with a pick rail. You have swivel studs at the bottom, so you can go take this out hunting and sling the doggone thing. This thing is awesome. Now, for all of my testing today and shooting, I did go ahead and mount a really nice scope. So this is the Hawk. This is the, if I get the name right, Vantage 30 side focus, wide angle, first focal plane. Whew, a lot going on there. But what this is, a 4:16 scope. It's got a wider field of view than normal, which is cool, especially if you're going to go hunting with it. And then it's first focal plane, which I love first focal plane scopes. The more I use them, the more I love them. This thing was great to shoot with today. Just a great performing optic. It's a little pricey maybe for this gun. I tend to want to go, whatever the gun is, half as much for a scope. This is probably about as much as the gun, which a lot of people use that matrix too. So whatever suits you. This because this gun can perform so well, I would not skimp on the optics. So spending $450 or so on a scope, certainly reasonable on a gun that can do what this gun does. So there's a couple things I would like to change with the gun. Okay, so we talked about how awesome it is and all the cool things it can do, but there are a couple things that I want you to be aware of. First of all, it's way louder than I thought it was going to be. When you're sitting behind the gun, it sounds very quiet. I was thinking, wow, this is great. When I put my dB meter out in front though, we're registering 106.2 dB, and that wasn't a fluke. That was what we got more than once. So it's a little louder than I would like it to be. Now, I will tell you that if you go to Pyramid Air, they sell an adapter that lets you swap this out, and it gives you 1.5 UNF. So if you want to do something about the noise, you can certainly do that. They sell that adapter for this gun right on the website. So if noise is an issue, there's options for you to deal with that. The other thing is you're going to want to tune this. So if you are shooting the 22, 2,900 PSI on the reg is way too much pressure. If you're shooting pellets, if you're going to shoot heavy slugs, it may be ideal. But if you're shooting pellets, you're going to want to dial that down. And to do that, you're going to need a chronograph and you're going to need a compressor. And I say compressor unless you just love hand pumping. I don't. So you're going to want a compressor. The compressor I would recommend is the Hill. If you don't have a personal compressor, look, you can buy a cheaper unit, but I will tell you that the Hill is just awesome. It's smart. It shuts down when it's too hot, starts back up when it cools off. It's auto shut off, fills to 300 bar. It does not do 310 bar. So if you need 4,500 PSI, it's not the compressor for you. So during the course of this video, I probably topped this gun off, I don't know, probably at least a dozen times. And that Hill is great. It's just a couple, I mean, not even a couple minutes, and it's right backed up to 300 bar. It worked awesome for that. And if you're going to be shooting a lot, you're going to want to go to that 300 bar mark. And a tank, that's a 4,500 PSI tank, you're only going to get a couple fills before you're not going to get that full 300 every time. So compressors necessary. If you're going to tune the gun, you want a compressor, because to reduce the reg, you got to drain the gun first and then fill it from empty and then bring your reg up to where you want it to be. So you don't want to be hand pumping that. All in all, a great airgun package. I am going to want to tune this for 22. I'm thinking that if it's anything like the 25, once I hit about 2,400 PSI, I didn't see any advantage in power. So if I could dial the reg back and still get the same performance and accuracy, but then gain 10 or 20 more shots, that would be ideal. So that hopefully will be my next video. I got to check with Pyramid Air if I can hold on to this for a little bit longer, and then we'll see if it works. If it does, oh yeah, I'm going to be pretty excited to see this gun pushing 50 shots and 34 foot-pounds. That is an all-day hunter for me. So great, great air gun. Guys, that's going to be it for now. My name's Rick Utzer here with AirgunWeb, where we tell you the facts, not fluff. Your home for old school airgun reviews. Thanks for watching.